Happy Monday to you all out there in Junkie Nation. I am your host Kenshiro, and we are back live from Junkie Nation. We're all very excited to be here after what I could say is a pretty good weekend. I hope everybody else had a really great one. First off, let me go ahead and do the usual thing. Let me introduce the crew to you guys. On my left, and on the right of your screen is the great Datakuji. Say hello. He's not saying hello because we can't hear him because his mic is muted. But he's saying
Hi,
hello.
hi everybody. I
There
gotta
it
fix
is.
my lower third.
There it is. There it is. Fix your lower third. Let's switch to the next one. We got GQ checking in. What's up, brother?
Hello, everyone. I'm here, and you're blessed to have me.
Humble as always. Now we got the newly rechristened Mr. Pessimistic, Sev himself. How you doing? After a
Hey,
week
just
off.
got back from Frozen Paradise. It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
hmm
You missed a really great show on Friday. I hope you got a chance to look at it, but hey, whatever it is.
Yes, I did.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
All right. And we got Krusty joining us today. What's up, Krusty?
Hey y'all, Krusty here. I don't know what else to say.
Nothing else needs to be said. They'll say it for you.
Okay.
And we got the big kahuna checking in. What's up, man? Aloha.
What it is.
What's going on, man? What's going on? Hey, we had a really great weekend. We hope you did too. So let's jump right into the news. And first off, we're going to talk about the news today that dropped that Microsoft is introducing cross-platform play to the Xbox One, which means they're including the PS4 and PCs with that. This was a hot topic of discussion in pre-show hours ago, actually, even too. So let's go ahead and mix it up a little bit. Good thing, bad thing. Let's start off. Let's lob a fireball. GQ, give your thoughts on this whole thing, would you?
I think it's a horrible idea because you don't. There's no point in mixing and matching and trying to get all these other people to play with each other. People buy the consoles that they have for a reason. People play on PC for a reason. So if you're trying to cross over all of these different servers and trying to make things work, it's going to be a disaster. And also, it's really Microsoft's basically in last place in this particular position, and they're trying to find a way to be relevant. So if I'm Sony, I'm going to be like, no, we're not going to allow our players to play with you because you guys are essentially crawling to us on your hands and knees, begging to basically get numbers. And there's no way in the world, if I'm Sony, I'm going to sit here and look at this olive branch without ripping off their hand and beating them with it and taking that olive oil and seasoning my fettuccine. That is the dumbest possible thing that Sony could even consider, is allowing the unwashed masses to come in and dirty up their servers with all these Xbox One players. So for me, and especially the PC master race, they really don't want to do this because now it's like letting these low-powered consoles in to essentially muck up all of the servers on Steam. So it's dumb to even consider it. It's cute that Microsoft wants to try to be relevant, but no, stupid.
Okay. Sev, rebuttal?
Yeah, this is I think this is Microsoft kind of waving the white flag here and trying
Really?
to get a truce going. Yeah, man, come on, man. It's the start was what is it? Their so-called first party exclusive content coming to the Windows Live store, which is basically the PC platform and whatnot. But I mean, they can't even get that right. They need to just discontinue the Xbox and just focus on software like they was doing before and whatnot. I mean, this is a nice little pipe dream, but like GQ said, man, you got these server issues and whatnot, and I don't see it happening, man.
Well,
Not one bit.
I'm going to throw someone in here that might disagree with you, and he just joined the show. We got Jody from Baby Boy, aka Megashawn, checking in. What you got to say about this?
The first thing I have to say is that Jody was at least 30 pounds lighter than me, so watch your mouth. I don't see how Microsoft is losing the war. They still have a better interface when it comes to a group chat. So when it comes to communication, they are dismantling Sony, and then just as a whole, us as the gamers would be the one who wins. Now, I'm a guy that has both consoles, so I could really give a damn either way, but I think it's only, for our benefit if this was to happen, because now you can literally play with anybody. And as far as a an olive branch. I mean, I think it's just a quality gesture that we, the consumer, has been clamoring for, and maybe they're hearing that. And as far as network issues, I'm pretty sure both have had network issues, and only one has had a colossal data breach.
Ooh, he wants to throw that in there. Crystal, Krusty, you got something to say about that?
I'm excited about it because I've kind of been waiting for this a long time. I don't have the Xbox One, but I have a 360. And when I got my PS4, all of my friends have 360. So I'm pretty excited. All those other, like what everybody else is saying, they're just hating on it. If it turns out to be working really well, which I'm pretty sure they will, they're not gonna just make it for it to be really crappy. You know what I mean?
Oh no,
But,
no. Of course they won't.
Yeah.
I definitely agree because it sounds like a bunch of haterade is being drank. Like they got friggin', oh my gosh, I got stock and all this stuff. If it
Yeah.
friggin', like if you're a friggin' gamer, who the fuck cares, man? If you can play with your friends and you got a friend that has
Yeah.
Destiny for the Xbox One, you got a PlayStation 4 and you got Destiny and you guys can play together, I think that's a super awesome thing. It's like, yeah, just because somebody like Megashawn, I own both systems. So I really don't give a shit. I mean, before I could play, with my Xbox One friends and people with that PlayStation 4 friends, I could play them both. But now it doesn't really matter. To me, it never mattered because, like Megatron said, and I reiterate it, we win. Like Sony, Microsoft, they ain't got nothing to do with me. They're not giving me anything. So why in the heck am I gonna freaking shout the praises of Microsoft or Sony? And I understand this is a different than the Dreamcast Datakuji because Sega didn't give me shit either. But when you look back at it, you got the games to play. You got the game. You see games. And what system? Who cares what systems it's for? Play the game.
Hold on, see, I get
think
what
so.
you're saying there and whatnot. It's just that Microsoft tried that before with the Xbox 360 with the cross-play between games from Windows Live, and it failed and whatnot. So now you're gonna try and do this on a grander scale when you couldn't even get the smaller scale to work. It's gonna take a colossal amount of effort from all three sides in order to get this to work.
Well, quite possibly.
And what's the problem with that, though?
Nothing. It's just the amount of dedication that's going to be involved to actually get this to work.
That's for them to worry about, not for us. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at it, the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and most PCs are running the same friggin' hardware, period. PlayStation 4 has the faster RAM, but they got, like, identical processors. When it comes to that issue of running a game on a server, it's not a big issue, and it's not an issue that's my concern at all. That's their concern. I couldn't care less.
GQ, jump back in there.
Okay.
Yeah, GQ, jump back in there real quick and let's close this thing out.
Why would I need to jump back in? I've already said everything that needs to be said. You do not ever want to bathe with the unwashed masses. And the other thing is, you honestly really don't want to, if you're dealing with a company that's already failed once, why am I going to give them a second chance to fail even bigger and worse? And honestly, I don't care. It's like if I buy a game, I'm playing it because I want to play it. I don't really feel like playing with other people. I play with other people when they're sitting here getting their asses whipped in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. That's when I play with other people. Online play, again, to me, is still, until they make it perfect, it's not worth it. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my money. It's not worth the effort.
Okay.
So they can keep it.
Okay. All right, then. Let's move on to some movie news today. And this was something that kind of came up a little bit over the weekend, and it concerns that horrendous Ghostbusters trailer. Everybody knows that they released a secondary international trailer that got maybe quadruple the dislikes versus the likes that it got. This looks like this is just a colossal failure waiting to happen. And then you see the news over the weekend come out that Leslie Jones's part of the subway attendant was originally supposed to go to Melissa McCarthy, and then they switched it like that was supposed to help their case. Anybody got any thoughts about kind of this kind of a clusterfuck that this whole thing is becoming?
It just backs up everything that people have been saying. That, for the most part, unless you get certain people in power, certain other people will typically always be in certain roles, and they probably did that to Leslie Jones, is like how GQ and Megatron says, probably because how she looks. But granted, none of those women are like supermodels. And Melissa McCarthy, I mean, is like the friggin' same side of the piece of bread as Leslie Jones. Just one side is toast, the other side isn't. It's the same fucking bread. So I don't know.
Yeah, I actually read online that a guy who actually worked on the post processing with the special effects. He got a chance to the movie. He said it's absolutely terrible. He actually said that there's going to be a dance number in the film where the ghosts are going to be doing a dance number in Times Square. So
it's going to do real well in India.
That's cool.
Everybody look.
In India, Bollywood.
Yeah, it's going to do great in India.
No, that's going to be terrible.
So now, I remember I'd already said before that they, even the writer Paul Feig said that, he kind of wanted to add a lot of slapstick humor in there. So clearly he did not understand what the original Ghostbusters was about. And I don't even know he's even seen it, because I mean, you're putting a dance number in the film and whatnot. It's just no. This movie is going to tank hard.
Kahuna, your thoughts?
I think that's the scene. At the end of the trailer where they show them walking in Times Square, and it's like the whole Times Square is just filled with ghosts. I think that's the scene that he was talking about, the dance number. But I don't know. It's pretty horrible, and it goes back to what Megatron said on the stream. What was it, last week we were talking about it? About the role, that role being for Melissa McCarthy and all that. I mean, that's what it is, man. I mean, I hate to hate on the show, on the movie, but
you kind of got to at this. You kind of got to at this point.
Looking good,
you kind of got to at this point.
Especially just hearing that the ghosts are gonna have a dance number at the end.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
Megatron, your thoughts?
Oh, well, just to briefly reiterate from what the gentleman that said in the interview, how he wanted Melissa McCarthy to play a different role than what she normally plays. So because of that, you make Leslie play the role that she usually plays. So it's like, hey, Melissa, even though the majority of the projects you write and you're in control of, so you decide to play this character, why don't you play somebody different? And hey, Leslie, why don't you play loud and obnoxious? It just screams terrible. But again, it's nothing that I haven't said before. So
true, very true that you haven't said said many times before. Now look, who do we chiefly blame at the feet here? Is this all Paul Feig's fault or what? I mean, because
you might want to look at a guy named Tim Rothman. He used to be over at Fox, but then he got over to Sony. Tim Rothman was responsible for the horrible X-Men Origins Wolverine. He was also responsible for not getting the Deadpool movie made, and he was responsible for Barakapool. So he's taking his tropes to Sony, and he needs to be fired from Movie and Journal, because the guy clearly does not know what he's doing.
Well,
obviously not.
Just based off of his resume, I'd blame that guy, because it reminds me of Kevin Smith talking about that spider and Superman in the Wild Wild West.
Yeah,
so
I
would blame that guy.
That had me dying when I heard about that. And then when I watched that, and I was like, man, you got to be freaking kidding me. It's these executives who are in friggin' power, and they just want what they want. They don't care if it's to the source or to whatever story that's written. They just want what they want.
But that's
Guaranteed.
Look what happened in the last Airbender.
The last Airbender, but that was in the timeline.
Let's not talk about that movie anymore.
I can completely guarantee you that Harold Ramis is turning over in his grave physically 14 or 15 times over right now.
Yes, he is.
You know what he needs to do is he needs to come back as Ghost and freaking haunt their ass.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice. The problem with this Ghostbusters movie is they forgot what made the original so good. You had a talented group of comedians in there playing characters that were very memorable, very fun, very different from each other. The problem that I'm seeing in this trailer is all four of these women essentially are almost the exact same character, just slightly turned on its edge just a little. and then you got Leslie Jones in there playing the most stereotypical role that they could possibly put her in.
Possibly.
So
put her
it's
in.
like, and then it's like, oh, we're going to let people know that we really were going to switch their roles. How does that? That's like throwing gas on the fire right now, because people are already pissed. Then they find out that, oh, guess what? We decided to take it back another 50 years and put her in the stupidest possible idiotic position ever that we were going to give to the white girl. So it's just dumb upon dumb with this film. And again, like I said, it's going to be a train wreck. It's going to be one of those things that when I go see it, I'm going to just sit there and enjoy the fact that Hollywood is still as dumb as they are. But
This is going to be a movie that you're going to be in the movie theater and you're going to be talking.
Yeah, we're going to Mystery Science 3000 as movie all day long.
It
It's
deserves it.
It's going to be acceptable. I can't never pronounce that name.
Well, you know, people have no choice to accept it, because there's going to be just us in the theater anyway. Because I don't think anybody's really going to see this train wreck of a film.
No, you know, people are going to go see it, dude. They're going to go see name recognition and women, because it's got all women cast. I'm not a woman, so I can't say I think like a woman, and I'm sorry if this sounds like somebody saying something from the outside looking in, but I think there's a reason why they put women in certain spots, because they believe they're going to get a women audience that is more of, you know, that gender and that side, because, you know, they're trying to bring us in because we like Ghostbusters, though this movie looks like crap. And then they're trying to bring in more women, more girls or young girls or whomever, because it has all women's cast. I mean, why would you think either they're trying to flip the script for whatever reason, or they're trying to bring in more women to watch this movie, which doesn't make any sense to me either, because you can't have successful movies, any of them, from just men. This not from my aware of. You got to have some women to go see anything. Deadpool, Blade, freaking, you know, the river runs through it. You're gonna have people of both sides going to see these movies. So,
well, it just so happens that we have a nice, lovely woman on the panel. What is her opinion of that?
I agree. I think they're doing the whole thing for women, because there's no reason to make an entire women Ghostbusters cast. You know what I mean? Except to reel women in. And I think a lot of media now know that you have all these Tumblr feminists and Tumblr, you know, activists and everything. I'm pretty sure they're going to watch the movie. I personally work with a Tumblrina, and she's excited about the movie because it's just an all-women cast. Never saw Ghostbusters before. So I think they're trying to target to that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, it does.
So.
Go ahead, Meg Sean.
I was just saying, minus speaking for the lovely lady here. I don't think women are dumb, you know, and this seems like a dumb ploy to get a bunch of women to come to the movies, and I don't think it's going to work, minus those random people who are just happy that it's for women. For example, if there was a movie and had an all-black cast, if it looks like crap, I'm not going to see it because it's black, because it's crap. And this movie looks like it just looks terrible. So I'm sure it'll get some women, but I don't think, you know, box office wise, it's gonna do any respectable numbers, even with the Ghostbusters nostalgia. Granted, me and GQ will probably go see it, but it just looks like a bag of poop.
I hate to interrupt you, but you're a seasoned vet when it comes to watching movies, and there's a lot of people out there that watch movies strictly for the entertainment, and there's a lot of people out there that watch movies based on who is in it. Because, like, for example, there's a lot of terrible black movies that go straight to video. A lot of them. I know a lot of black people that just watch those movies just because they're black movies. Like, I was at my barber the other day, man. I'm like, man, did you see Deadpool? He was like, nah, I didn't see Deadpool. I'm like, why not? It's a great movie. Yeah, exactly. I haven't had a chance to go see it yet, but it's like I did see this one movie, and it was this one movie, and it was so stupid. I don't even know why I watched it. I know I watched it because it more than likely had a black cast. He said this movie was just about people shooting each other in the chest with fucking guns that were wearing bulletproof vests. I'm like, what the fuck?
What?
I didn't see Deadpool, but I saw Mama Done Burnt Up the Chicken.
It sounds like a YouTube video.
It does sound like it, but there's a lot of, like, my brother's ex-wife, he tells me that's how she was. She didn't want to watch a movie unless they had black people in it.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
and and I can understand why she, would want to do that, because maybe she's out there trying to support black cinema, but she doesn't even look at movies like you do. She just, my brother is like you, like me. He likes to watch movies. He doesn't care who's in it. He wants to see movies.
Right,
But then there's people out there that, if there's an all-female cast, just like Krusty over there said, there's gonna be people out there that are happy just because it's all female cast, and they're gonna support it because they feel that they're finally getting their due. Just like if you get a movie that comes out that has a black cast in it, and they're not thugs and they're not gangsters and not drug dealers, they're just a regular movie. And when I use that word regular, because I have to put quotation marks, that's just cast with black people, like a romantic comedy or anything that, you can name any movie out there and just replace it with all black cast, you'd go see it, because like, hey, they finally got it right. They're finally not casting people as freaking loudmouth thugs, drug dealers, all this other shit. They're just...
I would go watch it.
Well, you're kind of right, but the majority of black movies they do make, which I hate even using the term black movie, but the majority of those movies are the same. There's for example, it all started with Morris Chestnut and the two can play that game, and then Best Man, and now you have Think Like a Man, Think Like a Man
those
2.
Are really good movie.
Yeah, but see, but I think what Megatron is trying to say is they're all the same. They were the cookie
successful.
cutters. Yeah, they were all the same, and they appeal to a certain demo. And it's like black filmmakers can't break out of that. They can't break that mold. They stick right into it.
But they're afraid.
Yeah, but Tyler Perry doesn't count.
No. Well, see, Tyler Perry has developed his own, but Tyler Perry has developed his own mold too. He's got a type of movie that he just makes, and they're all the same. And they're all the same, exactly. Go ahead, make sure.
Shout out to the new Medea movie coming out on Halloween.
Oh God, please.
But is it like Halloween? Medea goes trick or treating or something?
No,
it's like
Medea's Halloween. It's
there's a little
bad.
teaser for it already.
But the other problem is, though, sometimes you have black filmmakers that go completely the opposite way, and then you end up with RZA and The Man with the Iron Fist, and it's just like, it's like, dude, you can't be a black man inserting yourself into Hong Kong cinema. Either do it all black martial artists in a more traditional, more realistic story, or don't do it at all. Because it's like, I get that you love these types of films, but it's not even remotely believable that you're in these types of films. So they need to find a true balance to that.
And he did 2 of them.
Exactly. So it's like,
or just find a better, or just find a better actor to play your role, and then just collect the check.
Yeah.
Collect the producer credit or the director credit, but
he ain't even getting shape for that movie.
Man.
Well, obviously, guys, this is a very hot topic, and we're not going to run out of anything to talk about with this movie. Maybe when it gets closer to when this movie comes out, we can revisit it again. But right now, let's move on. Let's progress the show. We're running a little bit behind on time here. Let's start talking about recapping Supergirl like we were supposed to do. I watched the show, and today's episode was actually, really good for a lot of reasons. But the primary one is that Kara just looked, she looks much better as a bad girl. Sorry. None of that homey, innocent, little girl kind of stuff they were trying to do. They just, it's like they cut her loose. And, the writing on this episode, it's, I guess GQ would even say, is that it's more fun to be bad. And honestly, it was working for Supergirl in this episode. As I watched it, the writing was good. Her acting was pretty good, and a lot of the stuff that you kind of wanted to see her do that kind of frustrated you about her, she was doing in this episode. Now I know Kahuna watched the episode too. I'm not sure who else watched the episode, but the other thing I kind of liked about this episode too was kind of the conflict that arose at the end, and kind of the stuff that all the fallout that is happening towards the end of that. So Kahuna, give us kind of your quick thoughts on it. What'd you think?
Oh man, that was a good episode. It's a show changing episode, definitely, because now, well, I guess I can't do spoilers though. It was just good. It was good to see Kara change, do a playing the bad side,
Mm.
and it's hard for me to even talk about it without giving away any spoiler. I do like the for people who haven't seen it yet, you'll see a shout out to a nod to the old Superman movie,
Superman 3,
Christopher
yeah,
Reeves.
Superman 3, yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll
I
see
noticed
that.
that too. Yeah,
Hopefully, people out there, Junkie Nation, will be able to pick that one up.
yeah. It was pretty hard to miss. I mean, it was almost shot for shot, and just the way
pretty
she
much.
did it.
It
The
was
only
cool. I like that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the other thing about the episode too was just, like I kind of touched on a little bit briefly, is that a lot of the things that she did just by being affected by, I guess we can say this, she was affected by red kryptonite, and we know what red kryptonite does to Kryptonians. And a lot of the things she said, a lot of things she did, are going to have some, probably not long-lasting repercussions for the character moving forward. I put it at an hour. I mean, not an hour, at one episode before things go back to being kind of status quo.
The DEO definitely changed, though.
Yeah, the DEO definitely changed, and that's not going away anytime soon. It'll be interesting to see what they do with John Jones moving forward. Because I mean, I remember how we were talking about, the possibility that they could spin him off into his own show, and this kind of would be, the perfect kind of starting point for them doing that if they were kind of to do that. Just the stuff that kind of happened. I like that he kind of took the shackles off of himself too. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah,
I
believe it's either the next episode or maybe
it's the episode after.
Episode after the one
the episode
where we
after,
get to.
Yeah, the Flash comes not
No,
next
I
week.
didn't mean the Flash. We get to see Dean Cain's going to return to Supergirl.
I think that's gonna be next week.
We're actually going to get the. Yeah, I think it's next week. We're
Yeah, I
actually
think
going
it's
to
next
get to see when John Jones met Dean Cain.
Yeah.
That
I
whole
think it's next week.
backstory.
Yeah, that whole backstory should be resolved next week, and then the week after that is going to be when Barry comes to National City. So I'm definitely looking forward to both of those episodes, and I think that's it for the season. I think when Barry comes to town, I think that's going to be the end of the season, which is kind of weird because you feel like the whole Kryptonian with Non thing that hasn't been resolved at all. It's kind of just like there. It's kind of just there, hanging in the air.
Yeah, that's gonna be strange because I know the episode of Flash they're gonna be fighting Livewire
and Silver Banshee, yeah.
Silver Banshee. So yeah, that's gonna be.
And that dude Win, man. I'm sorry, he just ain't got no luck, man. No luck whatsoever. Get rejected by Kara one week, then his new girlfriend kind of gets fired. Thanks to Supergirl, ironically,
I was glad though, man, because she was a bitch.
Yeah, she was a bitch. She was a bitch. But you know what? I mean, real quick, and then we'll move on. I watched the show with my daughters, teenly, and when we were watching it today, and we just saw how, they kind of didn't, let Supergirl stay in the. I mean, when they turned her bad, and she got. She didn't have to. She stopped being frumpy, but she was still, wearing. She was wearing the hell out of them dresses, man. Today, like even that jumpsuit she was wearing, when the Kryptonian jumpsuit that she was wearing later in the episode, I mean, it was just on point. I mean, but it spoke. I guess it spoke to a little bit of a different way they could kind of treat her. They don't have to treat her like she's a little girl and like do the whole innocent thing. I mean, I guess that's kind of tired. She could, it would be more, and I guess maybe Crystal can speak to it. I know she probably didn't watch the show. Did you, Crystal? Did you watch Supergirl today?
No, I'm still catching up on Daredevil.
Oh, that's fine, and that's a much more worthy endeavor. Do keep doing that. But no, I guess speak to it on this, and I want to ask your opinion. You've seen clips of Supergirl, and you see how they depict her and her secret identity. What was frustrating for my daughters is that the way they showed her, just the way she dresses, and she's always dressed down, and she's not, wears her hair a certain way so it looks like she's innocent and kind of unnoticeable. then you see her when she's under the influence of red kryptonite, and she's like, trying to be, really attractive, and and all this other kind of stuff. And they were like, well, why doesn't she just do this all the time? I mean, she looks so much better, when she's trying to be attractive. She doesn't have to be a bad girl to, to be attractive. She can dress better and stuff like that. So, do
Yeah,
you
they
think it
dress
would be?
her up. They dress her up like Amy in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, yeah, and, and I think as a woman, would you figure it'd be more empowering or more? I guess would it have more of an impact for her as a character to still be attractive and sexy, but still be powerful and good at the same time?
I honestly don't know anything about Supergirl.
No. I mean, just from what I've
don't know
described
anything
to
about
you.
the show. Okay, yeah. Then yeah, I mean, if that's what she wants, you can still be, sexy in your own way and powerful and still, wearing sweats.
Right. Right.
I mean, I don't know anything about the show. I don't know anything about personality-wise or anything.
Right.
But I don't really see a problem with it. If you empower yourself the way you empower yourself, then that's not a problem to me. Except, like killing dogs for fun or something, then that's weird.
That'd be something
But
GQ.
dressing up and
He'd do that.
trying to be cute.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, I'll explain it like this. This is actually the easiest way to approach it. Red kryptonite essentially doesn't make you bad. Nothing makes you bad. It's not really evil or any of that other sort of thing, because as we already know, it's point of view. The red kryptonite essentially is like getting drunk for Kryptonians. It's essentially letting your inhibitions fall away, and you do whatever is your impulse to do. So for her, it's giving her the ability to get past the inhibition of, oh, I need to wear frumpy clothes so people won't notice me, a la Clark Kent. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to dress better and sexier and, be more assertive and more confident. So essentially, you're looking at the social norms of frumpy girls or normally nerdy girls versus sexy and attractive women that have the bodies flaunted because they've got it. It doesn't make one slutty or one nerdy.
Well, and
you're basically looking at this situation where she's not going to try to hide right now because her inhibitions are gone. So she's dressing up to be noticed. Simple as that.
Well,
I can understand that.
Yeah, and I think for me, and I know I'm speaking from a, from a male perspective here, of course, but I think it would be more empowering for my daughters to see that she's a superhero and stuff like that, but she doesn't have to. She can still be attractive and and still. And not have to hide herself so much and just like be that. I mean, because that speaks back to the hear me out. But hear me out. It speaks back to the way. Remember how the Christopher Reeve version of Clark Kent was always hunched over and all this other kind of stuff. But then when you got to the Dean Cain one and Lois and Clark, he was dressing normal. He was attractive. He didn't care, but he was still just a different guy. But he still cared about his appearance and. Wanted to be normal in that fashion. It's not necessarily normal to be that kind of buttoned up. You know what I mean?
There's no such thing as normal to begin with. You're running into a situation. You're dealing with semantics. Superman and Kara have always essentially quote unquote blended in as nerdy characters. So you're always going to have the nerd stereotype thrown on their character. They're always going to be frumpy or different or bumbling in some sort of fashion.
Well, again,
that's just how the character's always been portrayed.
But no, in some popular connotations, yes. But like Josh Mundy, our friend, is who joined us on Fridays in the chat. Hey, Josh, how you doing? But like he kind of brought up when in Smallville when Clark was under the influence of it, and even as, he dressed a little bit more loose and more sexy, but even when he wasn't under the influence, he still dressed normal. He wasn't necessarily trying to, be.
First of all, what is normal?
What she wears every day
is quote unquote normal. You're acting as if dressing sexy is somehow different than dressing like a nerd. It's the exact same thing. Those are the clothes that you wear.
Okay.
So I think by normal means like everyday comfortable clothes. Everybody's not going to dress up.
And I hear what GQ's saying, and so let me rephrase what I'm saying. She doesn't have to dress nerdy, in order to just hide. She could dress, she could still try and be attractive, be a normal girl. Because she's trying too hard to be nerdy and frumpy and all that, and not draw attention to herself. I get that,
To
But
paraphrase a very common thread and that's been thrown out for Superman, when Superman wakes up, he's Superman. He has to put on the costume of Clark Kent. It's the exact same thing with Kara. She can't be anything even remotely close to Supergirl. She needs to hide in plain sight by being a quote-unquote nerd.
well, even the Supergirl persona isn't necessarily like the super sexy person. She just presents herself as a strong woman. Anyway, so
Confidence.
again, this is we're arguing, like you said, semantics here. Uh, I just think that she could do a little bit better for the character. I think it would be an interesting twist on it instead of her falling back into that tired old Superman archetype. Anyway, so let's move ahead. Let's move to the main topic of the day. Great discussion and all. What brought us here today is Sev kind of brought this up earlier. He said, "Why is there so many dumb cartoons on TV nowadays?" I mean, and I kind of expounded on it a little bit and said, it's kind of an American thing that every cartoon has to be kind of bizarre or stupid or just funny just to be funny. There's no substance in American animation anymore unless we're talking DC animation direct to video. There's no substance in it. There's no adventure. There's no exploration unless it's like a translated Japanese cartoon that's Japanese anime that's coming on over here. So I guess we kind of get into that, and I guess the poster boy for the discussion today is kind of going to be Teen Titans Go, and I know it has a lot of fans, a lot of people like it, but at the same time, when you compare it to the way the original Teen Titans show was when it first came on. I mean, it was fantastic. It still has some silly moments, sure, but it wasn't that way all the time. So, is this just an American mindset? Is it is there no ingenuity left in American animators? So, Dadakuji, why don't you lead it off and kind of let us know your thoughts on the topic today.
You do know, I realize that when it comes to anything that is put through our eyes, that we being the consumers, we buy, we see, is all planned because of money. These cartoons weren't meant for you and me. They were meant for kids.
I understand that. I get that. But even as kids,
but
we
look
enjoyed
at it. Look at it. If you go back to when we were young, they had a lot of cartoons that we enjoyed, and a lot of them were not really good cartoons. Some of them were extraordinarily good cartoons, and some of them you just feel nostalgic for. I guarantee you can go back and you can pick a cartoon and look at it like, man, this is stupid. Man, this is dumb. Why are they doing stuff like this?
GoBots was awesome.
Yeah.
Stop it.
So it's Turbo Teen. I mean, they got so many of them that are extremely dumb back then, and maybe it's just because we're adults now. We're looking at it from different pair of eyes, but they were just as dumb as they are now. I mean, like you said, with the DC stuff that's coming out, that's the stuff that's made for us. That's the stuff that's made for adults, and they're really good, deep stories, great animation, all that stuff is great. But the stuff that's gonna sell toys, that's gonna get the kids just to watch over and over again, there doesn't need to be any substance. I'm pretty sure some of our parents and or grandparents, despite how good the show was, and I loved Animaniacs. It was a great show. It was very smart and very well thought out, that somebody who wasn't even trying to look at it that way would say this show is stupid. Howdy Doody is better or whatever. I don't think Howdy Doody was a cartoon, but whatever. Something from their childhood would always be better, because that's how it is. Your childhood is always better than your children's childhood, and it's always going to look like that. But I can agree with Teen Titans Go. Like, why would they kill a good show that had a coherent story, that had great characters, some characters that make you like the characters? In order to watch anything, you want to like the characters you watch. And I'm at work, and one of the coworkers put on Teen Titans Go, and I'm trying to watch this shit, and you had Raven, who I know is this dark character, not wearing her friggin' cloak, going around kicking everybody because she said she had beautiful legs. And I'm like, there's no thought or anything into the show.
None.
So, though I agree that the cartoons are stupid, I just feel that they're not for me. Some of them out there are, like can be looked at as really dumb, like Adventure Time. There's people out there that think Adventure Time is stupid as shit, but I enjoy watching Adventure Time. Not too long ago, we had a compadre of ours say that Rick and Morty is dumb. Rick and Morty to me is fucking hilarious, but that show is not for kids. That show is definitely for adults, and it is one of the most awesome, like just amazing. That's one of those shows I think that's
Well,
really well thought out.
let's move on. But let me ask you something real quick. Is Rick and Morty on Adult Swim, or is that on regular
Yes,
Cartoon
it is.
Network?
It's
It
on
is
Adult
okay. We'll
Swim.
see that sets the bar then. Crystal, give me your thoughts on American animation. I know you say you don't watch TV a lot, but when you were younger, we all had shows that were a little more. I don't want to say regular, but they were a little more. It wasn't always like all about seeing stupid or mindless thinking entertainment. There was some substance behind some of it. So talk a little bit about about that, and just why it would just what's going on. Why are our kids being kind of fed this mindless stuff all the time? And Josh, I saw your
Okay.
comment. I'll
Well,
bring that up in a minute. But
I don't think that's true. There's always stupid cartoons. Even when I was a kid, I grew up in the 90s. Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog could have been seen as really stupid, but I love that show. I mean, it's like, I think people are basing it on nostalgia. Like, oh, these shows were so good back then. The shows now are so bad. I mean, they're meant to entertain children. They're meant to sell toys, like Big Daddy Coogee said. And I think Teen Titans Go is hilarious because I have a 7-year-old brother, and obviously he's too young to watch regular Teen Titans. I wouldn't let him watch regular Teen Titans.
really,
But this Teen Titans Go is like a good, I guess, introduction for him to get started into comic characters. He loves Cyborg, he loves Robin, and I show him pictures like, oh, this is Batman and Robin. He's getting more into Batman. I think it's like a gateway to, I don't know, like kind of learning about more of stuff, and it's just entertainment. Like the leg thing, the one where Raven had sexy legs, I thought that was hilarious because it was pretty funny.
now look,
But I mean,
I'm not
everybody
saying
has different stuff.
yeah, I'm not saying that that there should be no silly cartoons on TV, but Andre brought up something in the chat, and he says like we say, there's very little story-driven animation from the American side, I should say. There's plenty from the translated Japanese anime stuff that comes on over here. There's plenty of the story-driven stuff there, but what about American-written, American-produced shows that have stories, that move forward, that can push the toys? Because like Daidokuji was trying to bring up, they're trying to sell the toys and stuff like that. I don't really see a lot of adventure toys, in the Adventure Time toys in the stores. I don't really see them. You still see it's mostly still Barbies.
No,
It's
there's-
Hot Wheels.
There's a lot of Adventure Time toys,
Yeah.
and they got
There's a
freaking
lot of Adventure-
swords and hats. I
Like,
got a freaking
my
Adventure
shirt.
hat, bro. Look at
Yeah.
this type shit. They got tons, man.
Man, it's so popular, and it's still popular for a show that came out like how long ago?
Shit, not even
4 or 5
talking
years
about,
ago.
uh,
Yeah.
The SpongeBob
think it's
SquarePants.
5 years ago?
How long has that been
Just walk into Hot Topic.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
that's where I got
okay,
this,
I
yeah.
get that. I get that part. Okay, but again, it still speaks to that there's very little. Okay,
Well, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because anime, there's like a completely different story, like a different like history for anime, Korean animation and stuff like that. There is still super stupid anime, Bobo.
yeah, one of
I mean,
Daidakuji's favorite shows.
Like there's
It
there's
is.
just like a different history of animation in East Asia, and there's a different history of animation in America. So you can't really judge it. Like Puka is Korean, and that's is nothing. Every place has their own stupid show, but it's meant to entertain children.
Right.
So I don't think it's a problem. I still like
Okay.
Teen Titans Go. I still like Adventure Time. I still like what were we talking about?
Well, yeah, I mean, but no,
Marshmallow cat thing.
yeah, well,
Rumble.
Sev, you jump in, and this was your topic to start, and I guess what I'm getting at is is we had Avatar. I guess we were spoiled on Avatar, The Last Airbender, and even Legend of Korra. That was probably the last most recent example of American ingenuity or American storytelling, kind of taking aspects of different culture and weaving out a really good story. And it was fantastic, and that's why Avatar has been so beloved for so long, because it's like, honestly, a lot of these shows, like the really really silly stupid shows, they'll be forgotten after so long. But I think Avatar will stick in a lot of people's minds because it was like, oh my God, this is a fantastic story. This is great action. Even Avatar had its silly, very silly moments. But and it wasn't all like super serious all the time. But it always moved the story forward, and it had a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end. I guess that's what I'm getting at is like, why is there so many? Is it just that they just want to keep kids? I mean, I know it's easy to keep kids entertained and stuff like that, but don't you want to kind of enrich them in a way by exposing them to different things and having the whole adventure thing, like kind of like we had as a kid? I'm missing that.
Well, the way I see it is that there just seems to be an overabundance of silliness and goofiness on television and whatnot. Most parents, not all, but a lot of them are irresponsible and they use the television as the babysitter to keep their child occupied.
Hmm.
So if your child's brain is being flooded with all this stuff, I mean, kids are smart, okay? You can give them an intelligent show to watch and they can learn. Kids are smart. They know how to follow a story. When you're constantly putting mindless junk in their faces, like, I mean, I know people like Adventure Time or not, but as I just think it's silly. And when you just flood their brains with too much silliness and whatnot, and not give them, a good animated show with a coherent story and whatnot, it's I just think it's dangerous and whatnot. And even, I know as a kid there were some shows that were just absolutely dumb or not, but they still did find the time to write at least 3 or 4 shows
Hmm.
that had, beginning, middle, and end stories, and had good plot lines and everything that a child could follow and whatnot.
Preach,
Exactly.
preach.
It just
Exactly.
seems to be just so much just silly, goofy nonsense on television. It's something that Krusty said earlier about how she's using Teen Titans Go to introduce, to get them into comics. Like, I kind of
Get
think
her.
that's an excuse because I started out with
Get
the
her.
comics. It was like
Get her.
it wasn't no dumbed down version of
Well,
Batman and whatnot. It was just like, okay, here's the comic book,
Get her, huh?
read it, like read it and whatnot, and then I was able to
Get
follow.
her.
So if I was to
Get
read,
her.
so if I was to read
That's
the
what we're
book
doing, huh?
and
That's what we're doing.
then like see Teen Titans Go at that age, I'm like, well, this isn't the Batman and Robin I'm familiar with. Whatnot, it's like they going about it backwards with it and whatnot. It's just way too much of it. I mean, it's almost like I have to depend on certain select anime shows and my once every 3 months of the Batman flavor of the month DC animated movie. So it's just too much nonsense. But then again, this is America, and America will almost always cater to the lowest common denominator. So that's all I got to say on
As
that.
I said, I disagree that it's the lowest common denominator. I'm telling you, man, your nostalgia bug or whatever you call it, it runs deep. It runs deep in people who are gamers and people who love anime, TV shows and stuff like that. This stuff, it runs deep. And
No,
if
I
you
just
look,
pointed out that I'm not looking at this with nostalgia because
no, no, no,
I
I'm
admit
not
that there
saying
were
I'm
goofy
not saying in
shows.
that same aspect that like there was a lot of dumb TV shows on back in the '80s, man. Friggin' Rubik's Cube. That's on
Well,
TV
no,
Yeah.
show.
we admit those
Come
shows
on, man. I
existed
mean,
and they was
Yeah.
bad,
and then
but there was
jumping into the
also good
'90s.
shows.
There
But there was
were good shows. There's good shows on TV now, but jumping into the '90s.
no, no,
Then
no,
did
no.
you watch
It's
Disney's Bonkers?
but it's different, man. Look,
No.
man. Look, man.
I mean,
Seriously.
you can
It's
name
different because of
name
nostalgia.
No,
Cat
it's
Dog.
not. No, it's not. It's
Cat,
not.
dog,
Listen,
cat,
Okay.
listen to me.
freaking dog.
Okay.
There was
Okay.
always a
Let's
good balance,
let's
man. There was always a
okay.
good balance.
Listen,
Go ahead, Megashawn.
Megashawn here. Listen, the, these shows now, and I'm telling you as a father, are dumb. They're stupid, and they are brainwashing your children into God knows what. There are some of these cartoons that I've witnessed my kid watch, and I'm like, what? Like, what did they just say? What are they doing? Whether it be transgender or just a bunch of different other topics that they're trying to condition them to make acceptable. Now,
Right.
whatever you choose to do in your private life, that's on you. I'm not judging, but these shows are, and when I say dumb, I mean as far as content, because they're clearly pushing and agenda. Now, speaking of Teen Titans Go, I'm still baffled as in the why a 7-year-old can't watch the regular
Teen
Teen
Titans.
Titans show.
I can't get
But
that
in
either.
regards
Whatever.
to Teen Titans Go, my 13-year-old son is watching an episode, and it's Nightwing, Beast Boy, and Cyborg with heels on doing squats, talking about having legs. Now obviously we all know Megashawn is all for having quads and having quality legs, but what is this mess that my kids are looking at to where it's 3 dudes with heels on? You know, these things are unacceptable. Then you got one show where a boy's mother is a whale, and you know, even Adventure Time has its own agenda. I don't know what the name of the show is, but Marcus knows the name of it because he watches that dumb shit. But
Right.
but as I'm thinking back to my cartoon watching career, I honestly don't believe I've watched a quote unquote dumb cartoon. Now, is it a dumb cartoon because it's somebody older judging it? Who knows? But I mean, I don't know, James Bond Jr. and Darkwing Duck, like that was as dumb as I went.
Right.
But I don't I never did Bonkers.
Couple
I never
things.
really did Animaniacs because they were just, to me, silly. But I think these cartoons have an agenda that they're pushing, and they hide it
In the cartoons.
in silliness.
Right.
Yeah, they hide it in silliness just because some of the stuff I've caught, I'm like, how are they getting away with this?
A couple things in chat. First of all, Josh says, Megashawn for the win. You're nailing it. That's number one. Number two, let's see. I'm gonna scroll back up here real quick. Josh brought up also, the lack of attention span, and Andre brought up something, to kind of, talk about what Dadakuji was saying about how, there was a lot of stupid cartoons that went on when we were a kid. We all acknowledge that. However, there was also a balance. There was more than just stupidity on TV. It seems like all there is on TV is stupidity. That's it. And that's kind of what we were talking about, is that there's nothing. There's nothing but this mindless crap that they're putting on TV for the kids. There's nothing to say, oh, hey, go ahead.
I'm sorry, real quick, because we didn't mention it before when we were talking about animation. Those first 2 seasons of the Boondocks were epic and fantastic and very necessary. And the only reason why I bring that up is because it was animation, but we're probably not going to get anything like that again, because we saw the 3rd season clearly had an agenda, which reminded me of what happened when Chappelle stepped away. But I just didn't want us to go on without being able to mention, those first 2 seasons, because even though it was a adult geared cartoon, it was very conscious.
I have one thing.
Very timely. Well done. Well done there.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
One thing for Megashawn. He's talking about, transgender stuff in cartoons now, and the guys wearing heels in the sexy leg episode. But you have to realize in the 80s and 90s, you had shows like Ren and Stimpy. You had shows like Rocko's Modern World.
Okay.
Bugs Bunny was doing it for years.
There was a ton of shows where they were just raunchy and still disgusting.
Now, by all means.
Rugrats had so many stuff that you don't even know as a kid.
Oh, yeah, but
and they talk about same-sex marriage and feminism and all this other stuff.
Now, all of this you say might be true, but as I said earlier, I didn't watch The Filth. So Rugrats.
God!
I never watched Ren and Stimpy. I never watched the other show. It was Ninja Turtle.
All right, hold on a second, guys.
G.I. Joe.
GQ, jump in there, man, please.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah. Go ahead, hit him with it.
Going in on the whole silliness in cartoons, because it's definitely, you guys are holding anime up as if anime is like this end-all be-all storytelling plethora of greatness, because you have stuff like Ping Pong Club and a whole slew of anime that was just like, the hell is this garbage?
Now,
just
real quick, but some of that stuff wasn't broadcast on TV. You could buy it in stores. That's fine. We're talking just on TV.
It's because if you look at how stupid and silly Ping Pong Club is, Teen Titans Go is inspired heavily by that level of stupidity and silliness. So Teen Titans Go is pretty much a stepchild of stuff like Ping Pong Club and some of those other anime shows. And then you had all those other.
Way lighter.
No, of course it's lighter because it's supposed to be geared towards kids. But like Severio or Sev has said, you can introduce your younger siblings and children to the real versions of these characters with Batman the Animated Series. You can go back and get Justice League. You can go back and get the true versions of these characters and not, I don't know, handicap them with these ridiculous slapstick versions of iconic characters. Secondly, it's not even so much a nostalgia thing, because if you even look back at the original 1980s G.I. Joe cartoon, yes, the episodes were haphazard and weird and episodic, but they always would throw in levels of dialogue that I think a lot of people on Facebook today wouldn't even understand some of those words. So I think really with cartoons, they're missing out on the opportunity to educate. For one.
Yep.
And to eventually like extend people's vocabulary, because Destro used to like throw out words that you had to get a dictionary to look up and understand what the hell was he just saying. Yeah, so it's like cartoons are really essentially missing that opportunity nowadays, because if you look back at a lot of the cartoons we grew up with in the 80s, because a lot of us are that old, Transformers, G.I. Joe, yes, silly and goofy storylines, whatever, always had some type of teaching point mixed in the middle of all that craziness and chaos.
Right. Exactly.
So what the hell are you learning from like and again, Rick and Morty might be an Adult Swim show, but to me it's just it is what it is. I get it. It's geared for older people or whatever. But like Gumball, My Cousin Morty or Uncle Grandpa or whatever the hell that garbage is. It's like, what the hell are you really teaching with some of these idiotic shows? Some of these shows are just beyond dumb. You could even go back to Scooby-Doo and learn something from that stupid cartoon. So a lot of these cartoons really are just mindless. I can't even really call them entertainment.
I mean,
so
really,
if I had
to your
children,
point,
or if I had, my nieces and nephews, they're going to see the stuff that I watched.
Yeah.
They're going to watch the current stuff like Justice League or even Young Justice and stuff like that, because I want their minds to be on a higher level. I don't want to dumb them down with the garbage.
Exactly, and I've seen a lot of parents that have actually said that about shows today. They said that they're going to watch stuff that's going to teach them some things. They're gonna, the stuff that really entertains. They're not gonna watch all this mindless stuff. Because like even to your point, they could watch Scooby Doo and learn something. What they could learn is that they were detectives. They paid attention to details. They noticed things. So one of the things that we started to learn even as kids, sometimes you would get caught up in the silliness of what was going on, and you would miss the clues. But so even as you start watching the show, you're just like, yeah, you pay attention to the silly, but then you're still sharp enough to say, okay, this is what he said here, this is what's going on here, and all this other kind of stuff, and then maybe you can try and solve the case before Velma does. Velma's always the one that's like breaking it down. Velma's always the one. So shout out to the nerdy girls in glasses. They know how to rock it out.
Represent.
Right. Represent. There you go. Kahuna, you got any comments on the topic for today?
I'm not really current on these present day cartoons like Adventure Time, and I mean, when I see them, they do look stupid. They do look, I don't know if I never really watched them, so I can't really speak on them. But I can understand the whole thing about having your kids being dumbed down by these cartoons. But I kind of look at it at the same time too, is like what I grew up with, like GQ said, I grew up with He-Man, I grew up with G.I. Joe, Transformers, this and that. I mean, when I lived in Hawaii with my father on Maui, those were my babysitters. He-Man, Thundercats, they were my babysitters when he was at work. But when I think about it too, those cartoons was all violence. It's like, everything was fighting, shooting, punching, blah blah blah. Which is fine. I mean, the point I'm trying to make is, I think it's just, they did have messages, but I think if you just teach your kids, that this is not how this is, or, this is, whatever, I'm probably not explaining it right, but I think if you just teach your kids well, I mean, I don't think these cartoons are really, these present day ones, will really hurt them, because I mean, if you think about it, if you look back, like I said, the cartoons I was watching, if I let these cartoons depict on how I will grow up, I should be a fucking mass murderer right now, or
Hmm.
I'd be in jail or something like that, because everything was just violence.
Right.
Yeah, but they did have messages like GQ said. At the end of GI Joe, you always got a little lesson
Oh man,
at
those
the end.
PSAs were
Yeah,
things
the
of
PSAs
legend.
were awesome.
They were things of legend. They were.
So
They were.
yeah, it's hard for me to speak on these current cartoons because I don't have any kids and I don't watch these current cartoons, so I can't really speak on them.
Well,
I can't
let
really
me
give
let me let
too
me
much.
kind of bolster a little bit of your argument here, as as a parent of three that's had a lot of kids that have watched a lot of these cartoons, and I can speak on it in this manner. Um, you say the parents could teach their kids, right? In today's economy, the way things work, you always have a household where both parents are working. Now, a lot of times, you know, the parents get so busy they have no choice but to leave Cartoon Network, but to be their babysitter. Now, what is defeating the purpose of you being necessarily a good parent is that a lot of these shows are teaching you or teaching your kids, don't think, don't do any critical thinking at all. Just turn your brain off and just watch. You know, you could make the argument that maybe it might be contributing to the ADHD society that we're kind of living in now, um, because there's nothing really enriching in a lot of the cartoons. Now, I mean, by no means am I actually saying that every cartoon has to have a lesson. Sometimes you don't want a lesson. Sometimes you do just want to turn your brain off, but it can't be all the time. And that seems to be all that Cartoon Network is peddling. And like GQ was saying, yeah, anime has a lot of really stupid stuff too, but it also has a lot of stuff that that is different as far as like um, being able to show you a different adventure or uh, do like they have slice of life shows that never see the light of day over here. Like whether it isn't even about science fiction or fantastic powers. It's just about normal kids going through normal kid stuff. Really, Crystal can speak to it. She's probably seen a lot of them too. You know, there's a lot of shows
I
out
have.
there, that are all about just normal kids going through normal everyday stuff, and some of that stuff is fantastic. But
Hmm.
it never gets peddled over here because they feel like the kids wouldn't watch it, and I think they're wrong. I think the kids would watch it. They would like to learn from characters that might go through a situation that they might find themselves in one day. What about dealing with a parent that that suddenly is going to die and you have to live on your own? Or what about going through your own first love or going through a hard school life or something like that? I mean, hey, again, like I said, I think there's just American animation is definitely missing something. There's no balance here. There's and yes, Dex, you did miss the Supergirl discussion.
You're
But
overstating, but see, the thing is, you're expecting way too much out of an American society.
maybe
Cartoons over here basically never ever deal with the concept of death. Look at the edited Dragon Ball. They
no, yeah, you're right.
disappeared and they went to HE
Yeah, that's
and
true.
Otherworld,
what was it? Home for Infinite Losers
yeah, the Home
instead
for
of
Infinite
Hell.
Losers, yeah,
So
Home for
in other
Infinite Losers.
words, you're dealing with a society that isn't ready to deal with quote unquote real situations for their children. They want their children to be coddled 24/7, and they don't want them to understand that yes, bad things do happen in life. So you're never ever going to get this quote unquote slice of life animation over here, even because on top of that you have the cultural differences. So that's way too much that you're going to have to try to get in there
Yeah,
and
that's what I
change
wanted
and
to
make
say.
work. So
Hmm.
that's a pipe dream on that one. So you can kind of put that one at the end of the line, because that's not going to happen. You're never ever ever going to get a cartoon where like a main character or parent dies, really dies, not disappears
Time
or
out. Yeah, you
falls
would.
away.
Oh, you
Avatar.
wait, wait, hold on, hold on,
Avatar was all.
hold on. You gonna go with the
Avatar was
Zach
all
Morris
about.
timeout? You gonna go with the Zach Morris timeout move? Come on,
Oh,
man.
Time out. I just did
mhm.
because I'm gonna tell you.
Avatar.
Avatar was about genocide, dude. The last Avatar, he was literally the
Killing people.
last air bender
Yeah,
because they killed all of
all
them.
of them. Wiped them
And
out.
look what
Every
happened.
one of
And
them
look what happened
destroyed.
when
And
they and look
Katara
what
blood-bended a dude for
look what
killing
happened.
him.
Look what happened when they turned it into a movie.
Well, the movie sucked. I
The
ain't
movie
talking about the
sucked. Now
movie,
that's
man.
different, man. That's
But the
that.
freaking
Yeah.
cartoon,
M Night
definitely
Shyamalan.
genocide. Like
Shamalama
when
Ding
I
Dong.
was watching that, and I was like, holy shit, he's the last airbender because they murdered all of them
That's
And
right.
you see his
in
like
the
skeletons.
cartoon.
Tenzin
talk about
skeleton
that.
and everything. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how much longer after they did that show last?
No,
Four
it
seasons.
lasted like 4
It
seasons.
lasted 4
But then
seasons.
it lasted
It was
4
like the
seasons.
most
but then it
popular
got its
show on
second
Nickelodeon.
series.
Right.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it, because it was on the garbage channel.
Hey, that's
Well,
yeah,
it was a
literally.
great show, and
It
I
was
didn't
a
watch
really
Oh
great
my
show.
god.
I didn't watch it on Nickelodeon. I think I watched it on freaking like either I downloaded it or I watched the on Netflix.
Okay, so you've picked
Yeah,
you've
not
picked
watched that. That was a good- that was
you've
a good
picked
one.
the one. Find me several more.
Well, see,
Because again,
that's the problem. That's the
again,
problem.
listen,
We
Are
can't.
you just
again,
looking
listen.
for animation? Because Disney has done it multiple times.
Yeah.
For what?
Oh, you mean
Lion
like
King.
like
No.
Lion King?
You
I'm
see
talking about
Mufasa's dead body.
cartoon series, because
On
Cartoon
TV.
series.
On
Lion
TV.
King is a movie.
Yeah, on TV.
I'm
On
talking
TV
about
is
on
different.
TV,
On TV
regular
is different.
series, regular series.
Right.
Because again, you're talking about Avatar. Avatar essentially was a translated cartoon. Product's already
Okay.
done.
Dex
It
brings up
wasn't.
one.
It was.
He did
Dex
bring up
brings up
Clone
one.
Wars.
Clone
They
Wars
were
and Rebels.
people in
Clone Wars
Clone
and
Wars.
Rebels. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! When I saw the episode where freaking what the hell is the Padawan that disappeared, Ahsoka, when she freaking jumped up, spun around with her freaking what you call it,
Lightsaber.
and you just see these heads drop, and I'm like, holy shit! Did they just do that?
Okay, but you guys are missing exactly what I've said. Slice of life, regular, everyday people.
Doesn't happen. Yeah, it doesn't happen.
It's not going
But
to
if
happen.
you're talking
You
about
have
having, like,
fantasy,
the
you
drama
have fantasy, you have sci-fi. I'm talking about real life people.
Yeah,
Mom and
that
Dad.
then no,
Not
because
gonna
there's no drama cartoons. They don't put drama.
They don't
cartoons.
do that over
That's
here.
what anime is for. Anime
Yeah.
got the drama cartoons.
Yeah, they don't do
There's
that
no
over here.
American drama cartoon.
Yeah, that's where the
Yeah,
history
well,
comes from.
People, Americans think cartoons are for kids. Period.
Yeah.
Because that's
I know.
why, and that's how it's like how it's been for almost forever. Even though you got Family Guy and The Simpsons and
The
American
Simpsons.
Dad,
Yeah.
you still think cartoons are just for kids. So
I know.
you're never gonna have a cartoon drama.
Fucking
That's
Susan.
exactly what I said.
And it's very unfortunate, and I guess the point I was really kind of trying to get at is that there could be more, and obviously there probably won't be more ever really. They're complacent in what it is, and I guess it's really about being a responsible parent. And if you want your children to have a better form of entertainment, you better find it for them, because you don't rely on network TV to do it for you, because obviously they're all about making your kids kind of dumb. So that's it was a good discussion, a really great discussion. It's 11 o'clock. We're gonna wrap it up now. We hope all of you have enjoyed our topic today. Join us tomorrow for a game debate show where we're going to debate another topic, even though it seems like we kind of did one today. We're going to try and come up with a really good topic to debate tomorrow. If you've got any suggestions, things that you want us to kind of debate here on the show, hit us up on Twitter or on Facebook. Or as I will announce to you guys out here in Junkie Nation today, we have a Tumblr. We have a Tumblr page now. It's culturejunkies.tumblr.com. If you have a Tumblr account, please join us there and share your suggestions with us on there as well. So we'll see you guys 23 hours from now. And as you can see from the countdown meter there in the right-hand side, it is 6 days, less than 7 days until myself and the Kahuna and Megashawn and now GQ has found himself and going with us as well. We're all going to go see Batman vs Superman next Monday. The stream will go on, even though we won't be there to be joining you. The stream will go on that day, unless something changes. We will let you know on Twitter or the various social networks. So, for the Great Datakuji, for Krusty, for Big Kahuna, for Sev, for Megashawn, and for GQ there on the screen, we will see you guys tomorrow. Hasta mañana. Have a great night.
Night tell everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye, she says.